Hello, guys, welcome back to Money is Blind podcast. This is the second podcast, and that was my neighbor. That was my neighbor again, and she is grinding the mixer, it seems, in the middle of the night. I'm recording this at 10:30 p.m. and I wonder why she has not gone to bed. This time there is a small change because now I'm reading from a script which I have written 3 months ago. So, what is the topic for today's podcast? It is about an accessibility feature in my computer. I'm talking about Voiceover in the Macbook Pro. This is one of the most used tool by millions of persons, and this is the single most tool which I think enables most of the visually impaired and blind persons to harness the power of technology and connect with the world. How do I use VoiceOver in my MacBook? That is coming up in this podcast. So if you're ready, let's get started. You can easily start it from the login screen itself. If you're using a MacBook, this is going to be a helpful session for you. Or if you are planning to buy a MacBook, then also this session will be helpful. If you have a MacBook lying around in your house, or if you have an iMac or any other Apple computer, you should be able to use VoiceOver and do all your daily routine stuff using that computer with the help of VoiceOver. So the first keyboard shortcut that I have to share is Command plus F5. So you just have to press Command and F5 together, and that will launch VoiceOver accessibility tool in your MacBook Pro or any other Apple computer that you have. You can even launch it on the login screen itself. I use this keyboard shortcut the most because there are times when I don't use VoiceOver. At that time when I need to switch it off or turn it off, I just have to toggle this keyboard shortcut and VoiceOver. Oh my god, she is cooking. I don't know what she is doing in this middle of the night. I'll just wait for her to finish it off. So that was about the keyboard shortcut that I use most often. You can get a hang of using VoiceOver by making use of the VoiceOver tutorial, which is built right into every Apple computer. It's really helpful. It has helped me a lot when I was getting started with VoiceOver, especially the keyboard shortcuts. So how do I use my computer? I use it for taking notes, to write video scripts. This podcast that I am doing right now, I am reading off a script which I wrote down back in June in the Pages app in my MacBook. I also use VoiceOver to set reminders, to complete my tasks, to conduct meetings, to research topics, and browse the vast ocean of knowledge that we can gain from the internet. By the way, if you are using an Apple computer, I highly recommend you to use the Safari's built-in password manager. It creates strong passwords for you. You don't have to remember all the passwords for each and every website that you visit or for each and every account that you create online. Video editing also can be done using VoiceOver, but it is really hard. I can do it with whatever little vision that is left, but it takes a hell lot of time, and so Nowadays, I don't try to edit videos on my MacBook with voiceover on. And so I outsource it. Outsourcing my task is the topic for another podcast. It actually saves a lot of time, but it costs you money. By the way, this podcast is about making money online, even if you are blind or visually impaired. And it's only today that I named this podcast show as Money is Blind. I don't know how I came up with this name, but when I searched for a .com domain name, this one was available. So what do I mean by money is blind? Well, you can take it this way. Even if you are blind, money can come your way if you really want it. And you can also take it the other way around. You should not follow money blindly, because at the end of the day, even if you have a truckload of money, you won't be able to find happiness if you don't find the purpose of your life. So coming back to our topic, what else do I use VoiceOver in my MacBook? I use it for my daily journaling. I use Evernote app for watching videos, for researching video script content. I can even blog on WordPress using VoiceOver. It is that accessible. Without VoiceOver, I wouldn't have reached where I am today. And the great thing is that the whole ecosystem works perfectly together. That means if you have an iPhone or an iPad or any other product created by Apple, it syncs with your MacBook, and whatever you do on your computer is ready waiting for you in your phone. Anything that I type on the Mac is ready to be copied when I open my iPhone. The universal clipboard works like a charm, and it works all the time. I have even installed Google Drive in my MacBook, copying and moving files, creating folders, organizing my personal stuff, and separating the business files and documents from my personal documents is easy when I use the MacBook with VoiceOver. By the way, you can use tags, which is built into Finder, to sort and organize all your files. Every bit of organization that you do on your Mac computer is accessible, and it can be done using VoiceOver. So what are my VoiceOver settings? You can launch the Spotlight app by pressing on the keyboard and the right command key together. And when Spotlight is launched, just type in VoiceOver. You will find an app called VoiceOver Utility. This is where you change all the settings related to VoiceOver in your computer. If you want to download my VoiceOver settings, you just have to visit the link in the description box of this podcast, and you can do it very easily. Using that file, you will get an exact copy of whatever VoiceOver settings that I am using in my computer in your computer as well. So how do I use VoiceOver? I use both trackpad and the keyboard shortcuts to communicate with the MacBook when using VoiceOver. I don't just depend on the keyboard alone. The trackpad is a highly useful tool for navigation, for browsing, and even for writing scripts. When typing in my MacBook, I use keyboard shortcuts all the time. Use the keyboard shortcut command with tab. You have to press both these keys together to shift between open windows. Switching open windows and apps is super easy when you use these two keys together. You can press and hold the command key and at the same time tap on the tab key to move between open apps and windows. This is another keyboard shortcut which I use very often. I think you might have already used it because this is such a popular keyboard shortcut. Even if you're not using VoiceOver, you might have used it before. Another keyboard shortcut is Command together with Delete. That is for deleting any file or folder and moving it directly to the trash folder permanently. This keyboard shortcut works just like holding down the Shift key and then pressing on the Delete key when you're using a Windows laptop or a computer. I use the rotor in my trackpad. When I twist my index finger and thumb finger in a clockwise direction or in the anti-clockwise direction, the rotor gets activated. I can toggle selection between words, characters, lines, headings, links. There are several rotor options which makes navigation very easy. Another trackpad shortcut which I use is 2-finger swiping rightwards and left. When you swipe 2 fingers right, you navigate backwards, like as if you are browsing in a web and you want to go back. You just have to touch on the trackpad with 2 fingers and then swipe both your fingers at the same time towards the right. And if you want to go forwards, or if you are in the Photos app and when you are flipping through photos, in order to go from one photo to another, you just have to swipe 2 fingers, keep them placed on the trackpad and swipe left or right. Another keyboard shortcut which I use on my trackpad is 2-finger tapping. It toggles playing and pausing tracks, audio clips and even videos. Even if you are watching videos on YouTube, you can use this trackpad shortcut by tapping on the trackpad with 2 fingers simultaneously. Another keyboard shortcut is 3-finger triple tapping on the trackpad, which enables a screen curtain. So I hope you know what a screen curtain is. It is like a curtain which is on your screen. It will make your screen blurred or go dark, because if there are some other sighted persons who are sitting nearby you and peeking into your screen, you can just use this trackpad shortcut and they won't be able to see what you are doing, because you are accessing your computer with VoiceOver. And I recommend you to use microphones or headphones when you're using VoiceOver, because otherwise they might get confused on a differently acting computer which is making a hell lot of noise when you are working on it. Screen curtain works in a similar way. 3-finger tap, making the screen curtain toggle button on or off. It works just like in an iPhone. And the gesture that I use the most often on my MacBook is swiping with 1 finger on the trackpad left or right for navigation. So that means when I need to go forwards, I just have to swipe towards the left, and when I have to go backwards, I have to swipe right with just 1 finger on the trackpad. So another difficult keyboard shortcut which I find is using the Command and Option key and then pressing down on the left Shift key, and along with that, with your right hand you have to press down on the down pointing arrow key, which will select the VoiceOver cursor. So instead of using this, if your trackpad navigation gestures are enabled or turned on, you can simply swipe with two fingers left or right in order to do the same action on your trackpad. You can save pressing a lot of keys with your fingers on the keyboard and instead use this simple and easy trackpad shortcut, that is two finger swiping on the trackpad to select voiceover selection, to move into the selected portion of the voiceover cursor. Actually, in voiceover tutorial, this feature is called more options. To enter more options menu or to enter into this mode, you have to swipe right, and in order to exit it, you have to swipe left with two fingers placed firmly on the trackpad. With the Mac, I am confident I can do all the stuff that I need to do, and it might take a little bit longer, but I'm confident I will be able to do it because I have a powerful weapon and its name is VoiceOver. But in order to get all the best features of Apple ecosystem, you just have to make sure that you have to be signed in on all your devices with the same Apple ID, so that all the settings get synced across your all the devices, so that all the universal clipboard and other beautiful features that Apple have created over a decade works seamlessly, just the way it should work. Initially, when I started to lose my vision, I used to toggle dark mode on, but now I don't find any benefit turning dark mode on other than saving battery, because I am not able to read even if the dark mode is on, so I don't use it nowadays. One Apple device that I have not used so far is the Apple AirPods. I'm planning to buy one, but I have the Apple EarPods, the wired headsets, which I still use and which I'm still using as I record this podcast. And I'm doing this today on my MacBook. Yesterday I recorded the podcast on my Windows laptop. So for a change, today I'm recording this on my MacBook, and I'm using the voice memo app and not GarageBand. If you are wondering about the microphone, it is Samsung Q2A. I will leave an affiliate link in the description box. You can find it on Amazon. So coming to the voices that I use in VoiceOver, I use regularly. Every time I switch to LX, I find switching back to female Siri voice, because the US version, because that's the one that I feel which is most human like, and I like her voice also. Alex is good, but I don't like some pronunciations that Alex makes, particularly when it comes to Indian names, and so I always switch back to female Siri voice. I wish VoiceOver came in local languages too, because one of the problems that I face is reading Malayalam, which is my native language. Talkback, which is the accessibility feature in Android, it reads aloud Malayalam, but VoiceOver doesn't. Yeah, even if I'm using my iPhone, it doesn't. So whenever I have to go through Malayalam comments and my YouTube channel, I have to depend on an Android phone and use TalkBack. And finally, talking about my MacBook, this is a mid 2012 MacBook Pro. It is an old version. I bought it in 2014, so it is now like 8 years old. But I have updated the SSDs. It now has a 1GB SSD, and I also updated the RAM. Initially it came with 4GB RAM. I have now updated it to 12GB RAM. No, it's 10GB RAM. And I must say it still, even today, works like a beast, just the way it is expected to work. I'm not sure how long it is going to work like this, but it has been reliable for the past 8 years. So what are the other apps that I use on Mac? using Voiceover. I use GarageBand. I tried it once before last year to record a podcast, but it was a bit difficult using voiceover. It is voiceover accessible and all, but recording on GarageBand is a bit difficult. So that is why today I'm doing on recording on voice memos. Another app that I use very often is the Mail app. I have my personal email syncing with my Macbook's Mail app. It is very easy to compose a new mail, to toggle from one folder like inbox to the sent items in the draft, outbox and all. It is highly accessible with VoiceOver. That's what I meant to say. Its auto completion feature in the to box and in the CC box, it works like a charm, and it has never failed, and it works very well with VoiceOver. That's what I wanted to say. I use messages very rarely on my MacBook. Even though the messages in my iPhone is syncing with my MacBook, I don't send or read messages on my MacBook. I use Apple News, but now I am more into the Hindu. It is a much more comprehensive news app when compared to Apple News. I use Evernote. This is another app which I use very often in my MacBook. It works like my second brain. Everything related to my business and my part-time jobs and all, everything goes into Evernote. Launching Evernote in MacBook and creating notes is very, very easy. And the best part is that all the notes in Evernote, it syncs with my iPhone app as well. So apart from these apps, I use calendar. Then I play with Siri a lot. I ask her questions every day, every time. Whenever I want to know the time, I ask Siri. And there are so many other things that I need to share with you guys, but I think the length of this podcast is getting too long, so I'll keep updating you guys on the other features, the other apps, the other gadgets and other devices, and all other accessibility features that I use on a day-to-day basis in order to continue on my entrepreneurial journey, in order to create content, in order to make money, because remember, money is blind. So thank you so much for listening. I'll be back in the next episode. So till then, you take care, stay healthy, and thank you so much for listening once again. It's me, Prasoon, signing off. Bye-bye.